City of Richmond becoming a prime target for gun violence.
Richmond.
The city of Richmond was known as one of the most dangerous cities in the Bay Area, if not the country.
And this is the For Our Future podcast. Let's keep Richmond moving forward.
And get the notification, kind of weird. All right. Hello, everybody. Wow, we got a great episode in store. It's me, one of the hosts, and Selmo. We're going to make a very special episode today. We got Jay. He's behind the cameras today. You're not going to see his beautiful face.
You can't see me.
You can hear his voice in the background. I'm live and direct here from Richmond, California, my hometown that I love so dearly. We got a couple special guests with us. We're going to get into that in just a second. And today's episode is going to be about the whole Reimagine Richmond organization movement that you may have heard a little bit about.
But you will tonight.
So first and foremost, I'm going to introduce to you, viewers at home, we have Marisol Cantu with us today. She's a teacher at Contra Costa College, a professor, and I'll let her give her introduction a little bit more because she is involved with a lot.
Thank you so much, Anselmo, and welcome everybody. I'm super excited to be here repping Reimagine Richmond. Super excited to shout out Richmond Rev and Lavonia here with me as well. And I just want to give you a little bit information on me. You may know me as Soul_speaks, as a lot of people say, or call me Soul.
Soul Speaks.
That's right. And I want to just come to y'all with an open heart and an open mind, but really a call for radical transformative change. And so as we continue this conversation, we're super excited to listen to your questions, to get comments from y'all. Just to give a little background about me, I'm third generation Richmond native and born in San Pablo at the old Brookside, and Richmond is my ride or die. I love Richmond. It is my home. It is my life. And I got really involved in this work because you know, being in Richmond, a lot of us have been impacted by the school to prison pipeline, and I saw the discrepancies in education in particular, which is why I decided to go into education as a teacher and then later on become an activist. And Richmond and the school to prison pipeline has really informed my involvement. I had a primo at a young age be expelled from our West Contra Costa school district at 5th grade. And wow. By the time that he went in to 8th grade, he was already in juvie at Byron Camp and passed at 21 years old due to gun violence. Mm-hmm. And so for me, I saw that in one light, education can transform us. In another light, it can really suppress and oppress certain people. And that's why I wanted to come. That's why I'm a teacher. That's why I'm an activist. And that's why I'm doing the work. Very important work. And
thank you for sharing that. Very, very deep. I felt that. So thank you for sharing that. We have another special guest with us today representing Richmond Revolution, Lavonia. Please give us a little bit about what you got going on and your involvement in this.
Yes, hello everyone. I'm Lavonia Bobo, Richmond native. I'm currently an instructional aide and I work for the city of Richmond. And my involvement really in this movement began when I want to say I was a sophomore in high school. And I remember the killing of Trayvon Martin, and I was like, whoa, like that's the first time I really experienced race or injustices in our world, in our society. And I was like, this is so crazy. Like my whole world just came crashing down because, you know, it was somebody that looked like me that this happened to. And ever since then, I went to El Cerrito High School. So to all my gauchos out there, whoop whoop.
Class of what?
2015, okay?
All right.
We love a gaucho. We love a gaucho. Yes. So being there, we started the Black Student Union, and then I just got really heavily involved, wanted to learn more about my people, my culture, and I'm like, wow, I'm not learning any of this in school. I'm learning none of this in my history classes. Like none of this is taught, even in math. Like we can go back all the way to ancient Kemet in Egypt. They were doing math. I didn't even learn any about like people that look like me, what we were doing. So I just became extremely passionate about our culture and our people, and of course that includes my history and my people's history inside the United States of America. So since then, being in high school, Black Student Union, part of all these different organizations. Soon after that, I actually went to Contra Costa College, and all the only classes that I was led into. Yes, you know I love comments. I love all my schools that I went to. The only classes that I was actually led into were the Black Studies courses because I started Contra Costa 2 weeks late. So, and they were like, just come on in. I never wanted to be an Africana Studies major because I was like, it won't get you a job. That's what everyone told me, and that's terrible propaganda within itself. And then I fell in love with Africana Studies, and it became my major. Soon after, I picked up political science, and because I wanted to know about like politics and my people and history and culture, and I just wanted to go to a place that would teach me it culturally relevant, historically relevant. So I decided to go to the illustrious Howard University. I recently graduated in 2019.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. And now I'm going to continue my education, actually getting my master's at Clark Atlanta in Africana Women's Studies, and I just have this passion for our history. So that's really what got me started. And of course, even though we have this great history of art and culture and all these, our music, these great things that we do, it also does come with the struggle, and it also does come with the fight, because we have to fight our color and who we are. So that's really how I got a part of it. I love my people, I love my culture, I love the community in Richmond, and just fighting for that. And now I'm here with Richmond Revolution and here with you all today, so I'm excited.
Wow, like we met and talked before the show and everything and got prepared, but once Lavonia started sharing, I'm like, whoa, like it's like a lot that I did not know, and so I'm glad that we're sharing and hearing all this. And so those of you who haven't or maybe haven't heard of Richmond Revolution, my first personal experience in hearing about Richmond Revolution was during a big Black Lives Matter rally and march that started over in the Richmond City Center or Civic Center Plaza and marched down towards where did it go? To the police station, right? Okay, there we go, to the police department. So you know where this is going. But so let me tell you, that was my first personal experience with seeing a group blow up on the scene, come to the scene, and get going so quickly. At least that was my perspective. I don't know if there was a lot going on before then, but it seemed like, wow, this group really came and wanted to make a difference and made a big splash. Now Marisol, she is someone who I met through the work we're doing with Moving Forward. It seems like after I met you, it seems like I've been seeing you everywhere because you're involved with all the movements that I support going on in Richmond. I mean, your fingerprints are on everything. So I mean, and it's a good thing. So thank you so much for joining and sharing a little bit about your introductions. And now let's get into a little bit of the history, because I shared my history of what I knew of Richmond Revolution, but I want to hear it from one of the founders.
Yes, so our beginning is actually like truly amazing. Like what you said, like I don't know if you guys were doing anything beforehand, but let me tell you something. We were, before that protest, we were not doing it. Well, individually we were doing things, but as Richmond Revolution we were not. So it basically started with Helen, one of our co-founders. She just posted on social media, like on Instagram and Facebook, and was like, it was actually after the killings of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and Ahmaud Arbery, and everybody, you know, it was everything going on around the world, and this time it just felt different, right? Like it was everybody in these different states coming out and protesting. And you know, in the Bay Area we mainly have protests in like Oakland, San Francisco, but nothing in Richmond. And there's a huge Black population in Richmond. Richmond has been historically Black. So Helen posted on Instagram and Facebook Facebook and was like, do y'all want to do something? And she was just getting so many responses. And then another co-founder, Armand, called me and was like, go look at Helen's story. Like, she wants to do something about what's going on. And so I want to say that night we hopped on a Zoom call. It was like 30 people there. And we just started planning a protest. I believe we started, I want to say Tuesday, and we had a protest that Saturday. It might have even been Wednesday. But yeah, we were just reaching out to people. Everybody, we were posting it. If you want to be involved, I was reaching out to everyone I knew. So we were just getting this big group of people, and everybody was just reposting it. And we got all of our speakers in order. I actually opened up the protest with my speech. And it was just so many people, all of our different connections. And honestly, I was not expecting that many people. I was not expecting that much support from like the different churches, different community organizations. They all came out because everybody felt something and wanted to do something. So yeah, we did that protest. And I just remember I was at the front walking to the police department. I looked back and I could not see the end. And I was like, wow, like we really, really did this. Like I was really in awe. And it really just started with 4 really core leaders right now, and then we just had our connections, and that's really what came to it. So after the protest, we did a Black Lives Matter mural painting. You can see that at the Civic Center right now. We also have back to school drive. We've done Christmas giveaways, and yeah, we've had a lot of events. We really hit the ground running after that. Like I remember I was just getting so many messages like, can you come speak, can you come do this, and I was so overwhelmed because I was just not expecting that. But it was actually a great thing to see in Richmond. And then and one of our biggest things that we did, we had a list of demands, and one of the things was like get the police out of the schools, and we were actually able to accomplish that. And another great thing is that a lot of the members from Richmond Revolution are now a part of Reimagine Richmond, and that's really policy and everything. So Marisol can talk a little bit about that too.
Yeah, let me just say it's inspiring to see young people coming together and pushing for what they believe in, making change. And like when you do it on that scale, you're going to get the attention of city officials, of people in government. They're going to say, oh, wow, we need to pay attention. And so that is super inspiring to hear and to know how it came together, you know, because I've been doing community organizing for a while. And so when you see something like that happen, you're like, okay, they got the juice. They're making it happen, you know, so okay. And so let's fast forward a little bit. And Marisol, how did you get into being involved with this?
Yeah, so first I need to uplift the youth here. I mean, like, they went in. That was my first call to action, was to join that protest. And that's when I listened to the stories. And Jay, if you have that photo, could we just put up that wonderful photo from the protest? Yeah. Just because people, I think they should really see. And then we have another one walking to the RPD. And so... Yes. Incredible, right? Like the energy, even now looking back at that photo, I mean, I can't imagine being at the front of that Lavonia and
I still get chills. I'm not going to lie to you. It was like, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And that was so inspiring for me. And the demands were so concrete. They were so realistic. At the same time, they were imaginative. They were creative in addressing racial injustice in Richmond. And because of my past and my work as a teacher, I really felt like, wow, these kids came in, these youth, these young adults came in, and that was in June 30th, or that was around June. And then after that, I was inspired to continue the work through some other leaders like Tamisha Walker, who runs the Safe Return project with Ide, wonderful person, and Claudia Jimenez, which is now a city council member for Richmond. But at that time, she wasn't. She was actually
an awesome skater.
She's an incredible skater. I'm so jealous of her. Yes. Shout out to Rich City Rollers as well. But she went, and Tamisha and Claudia and Randy really led picking up from the youth the mantle. Like, okay, these are the demands. Now, how do we force city council to listen? how do we continue and engage this activism, albeit digitally, because of course all of this happened in the middle of the pandemic. And so like we were organizing through Zoom, through IGs to get to city council. And in that movement, we really called for a 20% reduction of the police budget. And that was a larger call from Black Lives Matter movements across the nation and the defund police movement. Just saying, looking at the budgets and saying 20% reduction. Now, in retrospect, there's just a lot of reasons why we didn't get that 20% and why we probably shouldn't have gotten that 20%, because we weren't replacing it and we weren't reinvesting in our actual communities. So we were really talking about, well, let's move the money away, but we didn't have solid plans or proposal to say, wait a minute, we actually can reallocate this to programs, to city programs, community programs that would actually be able to address the root causes of some of the over-policing and use of force and police brutality, all of this in our communities. And so once I listened to them, I just said, how can I get involved? And that's where it kind of all began for me.
And so with Richmond Revolution, right, my understanding is that a lot of the members ended up, going off to college, a little bit later. And so it's been a little bit less active at this moment. But a lot of the members that are still around ended up getting involved in Reimagine Richmond. So maybe we could kind of share a little bit of the story so people at home, viewers, can understand how that transition happened, how people went from Richmond Revolution to Reimagine Richmond. And there's a task force too, right?
Yes.
It's a separate thing that we need to discuss, because that's also really involved. So maybe we can share a little bit about that.
Yeah. So just in like a timeline, so that happened in June, like the protests happened. We demanded a lot. That was like in spring, really. And then we asked for the 20% reduction and asked for a task force during a city council meeting. And we didn't get the 20% reduction. However, city council and the mayor decided, yes, we want a task force to reimagine public safety. And so that was approved June 30th last year. And over the summer, Reimagine Richmond were this core group of organizers, some from the youth of Richmond Rev, some folks like Tamisha and Claudia that have been community organizers, and then just folks that wanted to work and do the action of making this come to fruition. And so that summer we just planned, and in October, and that was just planning, how do we reimagine public safety? What could we do here? And in October, about maybe, I think it's about 9 or 10 of the Reimagine community group were actually appointed to the task force. And so the task force has been working, holding meetings every month, holding community conversations since October, and of course, doing data, learning ourselves about the police force and their policies and their budget and how can we better inform it. And so it really was Richmond Revolution, Reimagine Richmond, then picking up that mantle, and then really Reimagine Richmond informing, because it's really community folks from Richmond in that group, really informing the work of the task force. And the task force right now has been able to make 5 proposals, and they were passed. And so we can get into that as well.
Yeah. So how many members are on the task force? How many people are appointed?
So there's 21 appointed, and each city council member was able to recommend 3 people. And so we had, Claudia and Eduardo Martinez and Melvin Willis and Nat Bates, all of them chose people that they felt could inform the task force. And the task force is made up of a plethora of people, like
all
walks of life, all disciplines, all expertise, mental health professionals, people that work for the city of Richmond, teachers like myself. Luis is a teacher at Richmond High. Eddie works from Rise. Tamisha Walker is also on the task force. So just we have the president of the RPOA as well. So there's, I mean, when we talk about a plethora of people on this task force, we really mean like opposite ends of the spectrum here and everything in between.
Yeah, I could only imagine that sometimes those meetings get hot and a little bit
heavy.
What was that, Jay?
A little hot and heavy.
Yeah, I can only imagine with such a
and
diverse
heavy.
group. But so once Richmond Revolution, then Reimagine Richmond got going, and now the task force. And so the task force has been working on coming up with proposals.
Yes.
The proposals have already been presented to City Council.
They have not yet. So the way that the process works is that we had to present them from each of the subgroups. And so there was subgroups that were addressing different things. We have a subgroup on budget, which was my subgroup. We have another one on police accountability, which is a lot about policies. Another one on health and safety. And so all of those subgroups really worked together and cross-pollinated and made some recommendations. And that was at last Wednesday's task force meeting. And 5 proposals passed with majority vote. And now we are looking to head to City Council and start demanding that they approve these proposals and the budget reallocation.
Well, I mean, that's almost unheard of or unprecedented that, you know, how this whole thing came to light and the movement that just really picked up and started going. It's honestly, it's impressive. All the work that I do in the community, you know, I know a little bit about community organizing and stuff like that.
Oh, don't sell yourself short, man.
Yeah, come on,
You the man.
You do a lot more.
I know a little bit, and so hearing about how this all came to be, it's inspiring. It's like, wow, what am I gonna learn from this conversation? Because I feel like I'm always looking to learn and see what I can pick up. And I definitely want to see what I can pick up here. We have a comment from one of the viewers. And Jack, can you read that out for us?
Yeah. I'm going to get to the comment from Luna. Right before I do that, though, I want to give a shout out to Yenny Garcia. Yenny says, La Profe, powerful mujer. Yenny's a very good friend of ours. And also Tanya, awesome, and hello, folks. So thank you for tuning in, you guys. Diana, hopefully you get well soon so we can see you on the hike tomorrow. So Luna Marie Keogh, her question is, her or him, I'm not sure, because I'm sorry if I got that wrong. What are your greatest obstacles when it comes to community organizing?
Yeah, that's a good one, right?
Great one.
Yeah, I think that I want to say, especially when we first got off the ground, when it came to community organizing, everybody was like, who are these people? Like, you guys just coming out of nowhere, you think that you can run Richmond, do this and that. But a lot of people did not really know, like, we've been doing this. Like you said earlier, most of us were in college. So, you know, you did not see me for the past couple of years because I actually was not in Richmond, but that doesn't mean I wasn't doing other things. And where I was living in DC, even Armand and Simone, they both attend UCLA. So yeah, of course you're not going to see us, but I think that was one of our biggest obstacles is people like, you're not even credible. And then 2 is just people saying like, you know, sit back, wait your turn, like you're so young, like you're new to this.
You heard that?
Yeah, like you're new to this, you don't really know what's going on. And it's just like a lot of negative things. I want to say like a lot of times from the older population too. So that's why it's like, you know, we've been doing this, you know, it's different ways of doing things. You shouldn't be protesting, but it's like we're not just going to sit around and continue to do anything. I want to say that's our biggest obstacle. And also for me, my biggest obstacle is that people still think that we're crazy for like saying, no, this is racist. Like these are some of the issues that we're going through. Like white supremacy is real. Those are one of my biggest things. It just really tears me down, because it's like there's no reason I'm going to continue to argue my humanity with you. So having to continuously be on the front lines and be on these stages, it's really a lot of wear and tear. And I feel like it's like really a mental and emotional thing. So I want to say that's one of my biggest obstacles with myself, actually, is dealing with stuff like that, especially as a Black woman. Like, this is who I am, and there's nothing I can change about that.
I don't think anybody will blame you when it comes to that.
Yeah, that's like the toughest thing.
And but I feel like there's always detractors or people who are like non-believers, but like I said, it's so inspirational, and the bravery that it must take to blaze that trail to go out and do the things that you're doing. It takes something, and so I tip my hat to that for sure.
Thank you.
So keep the questions coming. If you have more questions, let us know in the comments, and we'll try to get to them as soon as we can. But let's keep this conversation flowing. And we were talking a little bit about the proposals. So maybe we could hear some of the proposals, so the people at home who are curious to know what proposals you all came up with.
Yeah. So really, I want to just say that we're looking at systemic issues deeply rooted in our society. And what the task force really wanted to do was address some of these systemic issues with local solutions, right? So one of the issues that has come up is right now, and especially right now in the pandemic, is our housing crisis and the extreme amount of homeless, unhoused, unsheltered folks out in our city, right? And they're being criminalized for not having a home. They're being evicted. Families are living in their cars. And then we don't even talk about the homies that are like couch surfing, or that just don't have a closet or a bed and just kind of go in and out. And so we felt that in order to really address homelessness in our city, we decided to uplift a community-based organization called Safe Organized Spaces. And Safe Organized Spaces is ran by Daniel Barth. And in addressing that, we're looking at 3 different programs, most notably transitional housing villages here in Richmond, to help people go through a cycle and then get into long-term affordable housing, not just for single dwellers, but for familias, for families too, because a lot of times where families are living in their cars, young folks are living in their cars, and they're getting ticketed. People are calling the police on them because there's a suspicious vehicle in the area. And so we really felt that we could address some of this with the transitional village. And there's a couple of other programs under that, which is a street team, which helps clean up all the debris from...
Really quick, actually moving forward in SOS Richmond, collaborate monthly on our monthly cleanup. So every second Saturday, we do our cleanups together. So this coming Saturday, we're going to be at Nevin Park. We're going to have a big cleanup.
One of our biggest.
Shameless plug. We're going to throw that in there. Daniel Barth. I feel like, we started off together same time with SOS Richmond, moving forward, doing stuff in the community. So shout out Daniel Barth.
Thank you.
Because I don't feel like we got to connect all these dots on top of
Hello, exactly. I didn't know that. I didn't realize that. I know you guys just did one with Rich City Rides and, the community hikes, but that is amazing.
We've been collaborating with Daniel Barth for a couple of years now, actually.
That is amazing. Well, I hope it continues. And as you probably noticed, some of the people that go into those street teams are unhoused. And this program would actually be paying those unhoused folks that would then give them long-term affordance to get an apartment. And so that's one in addressing homelessness. Another one is youth unemployment, and as well right now, and I think Lavonia can talk to this, just in the pandemic, online learning, like being isolated, like so much is happening right now with our young folks that they truly need lifelong skills. And I think moving forward really, and then your podcast around lifelong skills really helps. Like, where can they then get jobs and internships to actually keep themselves employed, off the streets, out of quote unquote trouble, you know? And this is another way. So the Youth Works program has already been vetted. It is a city run program. It's just, they're not reaching the amount of youth that we envision them reaching. And so I like want to paint a picture. Like, could you imagine like 50 youth working for Urban Till? 50 youth working for Moving Forward, 50 youth working for Asian Pacific Environment Network. Exactly. Like, all of these incredible CBOs and nonprofits could hire these youth. They could get these skills working for y'all, but getting paid by the city. Like, this is it's like a no-brainer, you know?
It really is.
And then there's just a couple more. One is stopping traffic violations. So a lot of times what happens when we look at the inequities, and I'm sure Lavonia can talk about this a lot, is getting pulled over. And for some type of bogus type of, maybe your tail light is out, or of course, with Dante Wright, with a refresher and air freshener in his back window, and then being killed, you know, by the police. It's just, how do we stop this? And so there's a lot of racial profiling that goes on in our city, and a lot of Black and brown and other communities of color already know this. They feel this, right? And so we are creating a policy to stop those type of traffic violations based on something that is kind of preconceived in some police officers' mind of why they may want to pull somebody over. The next one is mental health crisis response line. And so police officers do not want and are not trained to actually be involved in any type of mental health response. And it's extremely scary to think about if you're a youth or an older person or your family member, or you yourself, come into the space and you're not exactly yourself and you need help, but then being met with 6 armed police officers that if you are not cooperative, they have a right to arrest you. How scary that would be, and is for our folks right now. So just like San Francisco and Oakland and many other cities, we have created from the ground up a super community informed program called the Community Crisis Response Program, where we, instead of a police officer, people would call 311, and then there would be 2 community crisis responders, and then 1 medic that would come to this and help you as a response. The last is gun prevention and violence prevention, and this is through the Office of Neighborhood Safety, and they have they help with ceasefires, they help with talking to current members that are involved in this gang life, and they are the ones that are actually preventing crime. People don't realize police come after. They come after. I just want to repeat that. Police come after there has been an incident. Okay, we're trying to fund root causes of this, and the Office of Neighborhood Safety is one of those places. So there we are.
Well, I mean, honestly, just hearing all of the super well thought out proposals, it sounds like there's a lot of time and energy that went into putting these proposals together, to drafting these. And with a group like yours, with some very established people from the community that have very good credibility, you can be certain that they've put together, some quality proposals. So I know that there's probably, before I share that, I know personally a lot of people like myself growing up in Richmond, my first instinct is not to like call the police if there's an issue or something, right? That's just my personal experience growing up in Richmond. And if you have a problem, kind of figure it out. You know what I'm saying? You just figure it out on your own.
And that's communities taking care of communities.
And that's kind of how it's been, and personally. And then also on the other side of it is like, for example, you got your car broken into or something. You just kind of chalk it up as, I shouldn't have left that visible in my car.
Exactly.
Because
that's real. That's real.
It's kind of like, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're just going to wait around. Because I've had like a friend before who came out to a community event and unfortunately had their car broken into. And then, since I kind of helped organize it, I'm sitting around like, oh man, like, okay, she want to call the police, we call the police, wait like 3 hours for someone to show up, and nothing really came of it, right? So you almost say just like, it's not even worth me waiting around, just get my whatever I need to get fixed, my little back window or whatever. Hopefully it wasn't the big front one, because those cost a little bit more.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, but so that's just my personal experience. And so I'm saying that to say that the proposals that you're sharing, I think that have really good reason and could really do a lot to help the community. Before I shared that, I was going to say, I know there are people who may kind of be skittish or kind of afraid of some of these proposals, right? Change is hard for a lot of people.
Yes.
Change is hard. Change is hard. And so I know you've probably heard some things from the community about people who maybe feel in a different way. We don't have to spend too much time on that, but it's understood that people have their own right to opinions, right?
Yes.
And the fact of the matter is that Reimagine Richmond has put in a ton of time and energy into this, right? And so if someone wanted to, do something different, hey, get out and get active.
We're ready.
Yeah, do the
come
research then.
Yeah, come through.
Because
we're fired
I feel
up.
like a lot of people, they just want to bark on the internet or say things, but they're not really out there getting active. And so one thing I can say for sure is Marisol and Lavonia are active, right? They're out here in the community doing things. And so that right there is, hey, where's everyone else that's just complaining, do something. Exactly. But that's basically what moving forward is all about. We're not really heavily involved, obviously, in the policy side, because at the end of the day, be honest, I know that you just mentioned earlier, you're spending hours and hours and hours on this, right? And we spend hours and hours on doing stuff on the ground.
Yes.
So finding that happy medium to be able to do both, where I like to get, but that's why we're here today, right? So we could elevate this platform and be able to share what we're doing with what they're doing and try and do something together. So with that, I always felt like I was long-winded, but I feel like it's important to share that.
Yeah.
We shared the proposals. We talked. We're not going to even go into the counter arguments. We're not going to give them a lot.
I will say that when we talk about, we're going to get into probably the budget, etc. But I just want to say there's this like a larger question that the mayor, has really talked about, like, are we safe? And I think that's what people are saying. And it even goes to your story of like, 3 hours to wait for a police. They have been the end all be all job. So they have literally been doing everything. They're doing mental health, they're doing prevention, they're doing so much that they're not even trained to do, and they don't actually want to do. And so for us, it's like, we're gonna alleviate that part of your job by reinvesting in these other programs so you can respond to something that is pressing. You can respond to other gun violence. You can respond to criminal investigations. You can respond to murders, etc., homicides. Like, that's what we're trying to do, is alleviate the very overwhelmed police system by reinvesting back into our communities. And so it's just like a simple way to kind of see, like, it actually alleviates the police to do the jobs that they were trained to do.
I definitely agree. And also, like, just even with the whole layout, it's more so resources when we're talking about, like, these are preventative measures. So, like, even when we talk about, like, violence going on in our community, or, you know, our cars getting broken into, like, people aren't just breaking into cars just to break into cars. They're doing it because they need these resources. And, like, I know people that got their cars broken into, and I also know people that break into cars, and unfortunately they do have to steal, but that is how they live. So it's like, it's that Reimagine Richmond, they're trying to give these resources, like giving people of the houseless population, you're trying to help them with food and money and like getting in housing. And even with the youth, you're giving them jobs, giving them resources, setting them up to better themselves. And that's really what it's for. So even when you want to talk about the mental health, I just have a huge thing in Richmond with mental health, because actually on my street there was a house for people that dealt with mental health issues, and weekly, multiple times a day, they're calling the police on them. It's the same people. And then they're going through a mental health episode, and you have 9 police cars on them, circling them in the middle of the street. And it's just like, I would ask, like, why are all y'all here? Like, why are you guys here? Like, you think you're helping? And they're like, yeah, I know, I don't want to be here, but you know, I've been called. I'm like, but you need 9 police officers, 9 cars. So it's just like, and also I just feel like that's a waste of resources, and that's my tax money too. So you know, I'd much rather go somewhere else. So
yes, it is.
Yeah, and so money. Right? That's what it comes down to.
Money.
That's
Where's the Cardi B
really
song?
what it comes down to, because in order to really get things done, it takes some money.
Yes, it does.
And if you want to make a difference, you got to hit them where the pockets are at, hit them in the checkbook, so we can actually make a difference and fund some of these things. Because otherwise, it's just like a Band-Aid, you know?
Yes.
You get funding for so long, and then that program is gone till they get more funding, or they have to try and scramble and get more funding to be able to continue the good work that they're doing in the community, right? And so that's something that moving forward has been working on, and trying to get funding. So, you know, if you got some little extra room,
hello, yeah, exactly. Exactly. We will redirect some funds. And so let's talk money, because we all about our dollars and cents in Richmond, and let's make some sense. So we have Jay's already on it, about to get into this budget. So this is really just, I'm not going to go deep into this, but a lot of people just don't know. One, our city budget is our money. It's our taxpayer money. It's how homeowners, property taxes, sales tax, all of that. So it is our money. When Lavonia said it's our money, that's our money. Like, it's our money. So what happens is we have been allocating 40%, or $67 million into our Richmond Police Department.
Is that yearly?
That is yearly. Wow. $67 million in our police department. And so you can see here, that is comparing, if you see this this document, or this slide, thank you. It's actually, if you look at fire, that's 18%. And then you look at public works, it's about 15. But if you really look at,
you might have to get the magnifying glass.
Maybe. But library and cultural services, the library, a place where we get information, where students learn, etc., they are at 3%.
And I work at the library.
Oh, Lord.
Yes, I work at the library.
3%. And how many employees are there?
Oh, I cannot tell you, but it's a good amount, but I definitely think the library needs way more resources, especially because we deal with a huge portion of the Richmond community. Huge portion. Absolutely.
And so I saw this and I was floored. I was like, 40%? That's more than a third of our budget. Okay, so 40%. And can you go to the next slide, Lev? Amazing. So just to give you, compared to some other departments, you can see the Office of Neighborhood Safety that we are trying to fund has $2 million. Again, the Office of Neighborhood Safety has taken more guns off of the streets, have helped more ceasefires, has prevented more gun violence, and they are being funded at $2 million. Where the police department is being funded at $67 million.
So that's the police department with
the red.
with the red bar graph.
Yep.
And which one is
The ONS should be the third.
Okay.
Or this is it the second one? Thank you. Oh, it's the last one. Jesus. Yep.
Yeah.
One less than $2 million for that. Community services. What was that? Almost 4.
5.
Oh, 5.
5.1.
Yeah, 5 million. Okay, community services. We're talking about people need to understand that our budget is a moral document. It is an investment that our city makes into our communities. And what we are showing by this budget is that it is overflated with over policing. Our police department receives a lot of money. And so that really hit hard, knowing the 40% budget. Let's keep on going to the next. Keep on. Yep, that one right there. All right. So this also is pretty jarring to actually see. So we compared Richmond. We, as in not me, because I don't understand numbers, but but people in our group compared Richmond's police spending per capita, which is per person, to the 50 largest cities in the United States. Largest cities. We spend number 5th out of 50 of the largest cities. We actually spend more per capita than the state of New York, the city of San Jose, Detroit, Philadelphia, and LA. That is how much money we are actually spending. LA, which is notorious for their police department, we're spending more. And we're not a large city
At all.
We are teeny. Why are we spending so much money on the police?
How do we get to this point? Is it pensions? I know that the police union is strong. I don't know all of the details and background of it, but just looking at this information, makes you think okay, how did we
get there? Yeah. And I'm sure Lavonia could talk to this. It started in the 80s, 90s, in the war on drugs, the war on crime, the war on Black bodies, and it just became exacerbated. And we haven't gone down. We haven't really reached where we should be reaching in kind of reallocating these funds. And so we're not going to go into a history lesson of this, obviously, but just give context. It really blew up when at the national level there was, these war on crime and war on drugs, etc., that were going on.
And I know, the police union is strong, right? There's a lot of pensions and all that going on. So how many officers are actually on the street, on a regular basis?
So right now we have 157 sworn officers, ranging from $130,000 to about $500,000 per salary per year. And when we look at reallocating funds, we're looking at reinvesting in services. And so the programs all the proposals that were passed and the budget reallocation that was passed last week at the task force was a reduction of $10.3 million from the $67 million. And we would be that, so we're about 57 million. Again, that doesn't even touch everything. These policies, they're what we might call low-hanging fruit. Mental health, police shouldn't respond to that. Homelessness, we shouldn't criminalize homelessness. Youth need jobs. We're not even getting into some of the root systemic policies around racism yet. And we have had such a large pushback because, like you're saying, Anselmo, police unions hold a lot of power in our city, and have really plagued our city politics for a very, very long time. And so I really like, because you know, when we talk about this, it's always follow the money. And Richmond folks, I think, really understand follow the money. We about our dollar and cents. And so when you follow that money and you see how deep in the rabbit hole you get, you will be floored at what you see. I mean, we have some police officers that just this year, and we're in April, about to be May, have already made $100,000 in overtime. Overtime. I mean, I will never make that. A teacher will never ever make that. A professor, even at CCC, maxes out at 100. Like that is not. So just looking at these reallocations as a reinvestment, and honestly, the way I truly see it, as a repayment, as a refund to our Black and Brown communities that have desperately been starved of resources, that Lavonia was especially talking about.
I like the way you put that a lot. This is a reinvestment. That's real.
And I know maybe until the pandemic, crime in Richmond, in the area, had been decreasing, right? I've been hearing a lot more things happening in the city lately. I don't have all the numbers in front of me, but you know, during the pandemic, people don't have as much things going on, and you know, things have been happening, unfortunately.
I was gonna say, I feel like ever since, because I've been in Richmond my whole life, I've seen like a huge decrease in crime, especially when we talk about violence and gun violence, like a huge decrease just in my area in general. I'm from the south side of Richmond, and also we can talk about gentrification even within all inside of Richmond.
That's where I was going.
Like so, like a lot of things have greatly changed.
And so, like, when, I mean, gentrification, right? So how much of the crime reduction do you think may be related to gentrification, right? And the different demographics that are now here in Richmond, and then also with changes in the community and the demographics, it makes sense. Maybe there should be a change in funding, right? And so 10.3 million is what we're talking about, right? And with the proposal that's going to be going soon, how soon can people expect to hear more about this, and what is it going to be?
Yes. So we, the task force members are going to City Council to ask for a special City Council meeting, because this is too large of an issue to be kind of sandwiched into a community development project and like some other appointment by the City Council. So, and by our last two task force meetings, two of them have been 4 hours long. And so there's no way that we are going to be going into a city council. So we're asking for a special city council on May 10th, actually. May 10th to be held. The city council members have already said and really promised to prioritize anything that affects the budget, because just for people to know, our budget cycle is weird. It ends on June 30th. So all of the budget has to be, our city budget has to be finalized by June 30th. And so that's really why we're in this final push right now for a special city council meeting to have the community moving forward, folks, youth, everyone come and speak their truth to power, and say what they believe. And from there, you know, we hope that it would be passed, but with our mayor, you know, he's known for some pretty strong stall tactics, and so it may go into other meetings as well. But we're really trying to gear up for May 10th, and trying to get ready for that. And so there's a lot of ways to be engaged, and a lot of different call to actions that we have going on right now.
And just so viewers at home knows, because they may think, oh, it's not important that I go, or it's not important, right? But just like we talked about earlier with the rally and protest with Richmond Revolution, when you bring out numbers like that of people in support of specific causes, then you're able to demand more respect from elected officials, because as an elected official, right? They probably want to get reelected, and if they have 1,000 people, 2,000 people out at a city council meeting or protesting, then they got to put some respect on that.
Yeah,
right?
definitely. Even I'm not even a part of the task force, but every single time I'm like, I'm gonna be raising my hand in the meeting because you guys are gonna hear from me too. I'm like, I'm gonna say something. Like, yeah,
Absolutely.
I'm there all the time.
Absolutely, and we need that. We definitely need that at the task force. But really, since we've passed these proposals, we are going into the larger fight with city council, right? And really making sure that our voices, that our community voices, are being heard. And so we're essentially Reimagine Richmond. This is like a kickoff, y'all, of a community tour that we are essentially going on.
Yeah.
And we're reaching out to all local organizations and wanting to present our proposals and get community feedback. And so that's essentially what we're doing as task force members, engaging with the community. There's a lot of misinformation out there, unfortunately, even perpetuated by our mayor, and even our PD, and so forth. So we're really ready to mobilize. And so this is really like a kickoff as we move forward.
No pun intended.
Are we moving forward?
Well, I'm glad you all decided to stop by with our podcast and tell it here first. We got the exclusive special interview. So I know doing this work is important work, but I can only imagine how tiring it can be to do this, just emotionally taxing. So what are some things that you do to keep going? Because man, I could imagine after so many meetings, probably all by Zoom, you're kind of just like, oh, tired, but this is important, right? So
Absolutely.
What is it that's driving you? What's inspiring you? Also, what's like keeping you fresh and able to continue this mission?
I'll start and then, yeah, you ready?
No, you can take it away. I gotta think about this one.
Yeah. Another plug, Rich City Rollers, Rich City Rides, you know, they have created such brave spaces. You know, I am not a roller skater. Like I fall all the time. Jay can attest to this. Like he's like, oh, there she goes again. And so I don't know how to stop on skates. I literally just yell like, Jay, stop me, I'm coming. So really trying to find community spaces and public spaces like Miller Knox Park. We have a beautiful city. So I find a lot of respite and care in skating, and I'm an avid biker. So shout out to my two bikes, Little Red and Razzmatazz. And so they're my
I love that.
they're my loves. And so yeah, finding that care, but the youth voice, like we have some amazing youth, Lavonia, we have some high school students that have just spoken their truth and said, we are exhausted. We have to change. And hearing them over and over again is what inspires me. And inspires a lot of people actually on the task force. So if you are a youth and you have had a story, or you've been racially profiled, or you really have some experiences with RPD, I encourage you to follow Reimagine Richmond. If you know somebody that's impacted by mental health crises, sign our petition on Reimagine Richmond's link tree, and then of course continue for the yep, Jay got some on it. Jay is just totally on it. So there's some stuff here, and we'll be continuing to go on our community tour, and so we really appreciate you. And so I'm just gonna say, y'all inspire me every time that our community comes through.
Yes,
Wow.
yes. Honestly, I would say that the community does inspire me too, to be honest with you. Just being around people that still continue this fight, talking with my friends, like just being here, to be honest with you, it inspires me to keep going. I feel like I haven't been doing that much. I'm like, wow, I need to get on it, because like this is my passion, like for liberation, for freedom. And you know, white supremacy and racism, that does not stop. So I can't stop. Like I have to continue to fight this fight. My ancestors have been doing this for forever. When it was like in slavery and everything. So now that we have a little bit of freedom, like there's no reason why I should not be doing something about this. There's no reason why I have to sit back and not do anything. So that's really what keeps me inspired to continue to do things. And honestly, I believe one of the questions was like rest and like relaxation. Yeah, I love to paint, I love to eat, and I love to shop. That is my trio. So that is one thing. And I love to watch TV too, which is really bad, but that is one thing.
What's your what's your advice when it comes to your TV shows? What are you watching?
Okay, so I'm terrible, y'all.
That's why.
Terrible, but reality television is everything to me.
Oh, God.
Real Housewives of Atlanta.
I like how you say Atlanta.
Yeah, I know. As I'm going, Real Houses of Atlanta. That is my show. A good reality TV show, just to see personalities. I think that's what I love about it the most.
Sometimes it's like a good little like brain transplant. You get away from reality for a little while.
No, definitely.
Fun fact: Anselmo is a fan of 90
Day Fiance. I know all the reality TV shows. It's ridiculous.
90 Day Fiance. Yeah,
it's actually sad.
That show is crazy. But so how about people at home who want to get involved? They may be inspired by some of the things that we talked about today, and they want to do something. How can they get in touch with you? Where can they go?
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously follow Reimagine Richmond on IG. A Facebook page is also coming. You can find the proposals at bit.ly/Richmond proposals. And all of the proposals, you can read more about the budget, etc., all on the link tree in Reimagine Richmond. And there's a lot of calls to actions in regards to signing petitions, emailing city council. But the first way to get plugged in is to follow Reimagine Richmond, and of course Richmond Rev always, as we share a lot of the same philosophies and a lot of the work together. And there may be a little sneak peek of a little something that Lavonia might want to share coming up.
Yeah, so definitely, like as she was saying, and follow Richmond Revolution. And also, if you really want to get involved, you really want to get the ground running, get out there on your feet. May 8th, we will be having a protest beginning at City Hall, correct?
Yeah, it should be there. We're going to be, to be determined, the actual location, but May 8th, save the date now. This is gearing up for the May 10th City Council meeting. Yep. So we're reactivating hopefully the original 4 or however many Richmond Rev can come through. And we are excited to show our solidarity because the fight for Black lives does not end.
It does not end.
May 8th.
Yeah, May 8th.
Save the date.
Save the date and be there. We need all hands on deck. So yeah, be there May 8th. And also follow Richmond Revolution and Reimagine Richmond so you can be updated on the location, the time, and everything that you need to know. May 8th, remember that. And you'll see me there. You'll see both of us.
Yes, we will.
Probably all of us, right?
Yes.
We do have another event on May 8th, but
depending on
that's
time.
from 10 to 12.
Yep.
So hopefully it can work out. We got our monthly, as we talked about earlier, the monthly community cleanup.
That's
set every second Saturday, different parks throughout the city. So that's what I already have a commitment there. But definitely, if I'm available, trust me, I'll be there.
Okay,
and
perfect.
I didn't mention this earlier, but I was at the Black Lives Matter protest, the one in June, right?
Yeah.
And I was there, and it definitely was inspiring. And for sure, I'm super glad I was able to see and meet one of the people who were behind it. Because I mean, man, it was a beautiful thing.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It was. I think about it to this day. It has a special place in my heart. So
yeah. I mean, rightfully so. That should be like a major accomplishment. A life accomplishment, like doing that and continuing the mission.
Yes. No. Very true. Thank you.
So, at this point, I mean, we usually give our shout outs to everyone, share any other additional information that we have going on. Jay, is there anything that you wanted to share? Anyone you wanted to shout out?
Yeah, let's see. This evening I want to shout out, let's see, we did New Hampshire, we did Delaware last time. Let's go with the state of Florida.
State of Florida, oh no.
All right, and also, Florida needs love too, guys.
You're seeing my face, but you're hearing Jay talk. He doesn't have a mic on him today.
I do not.
A camera on him today.
And definitely, but no, really, I want to shout out Mike Taché for giving us the space to do this, and La Sagrada Familia. I want to shout out Diana, hopefully you get better. Hoka D, and I think that wraps it up for me.
So much shout out Lady. She does all the social media promotion. So if you've seen a flyer that told you to tune in today, she probably made it. She probably posted all the videos and stuff that you saw that kept telling you to watch. So appreciate her. Thank you to you two for coming out. We definitely appreciate you coming out and the work that you're doing. It's important, very important, and inspiring at the same time. So thank you. Is there any shout outs that you'd like to make?
The whole entire Reimagine Richmond crew. I mean, look, Chacon Brothers, Helen, of course, yours, Randy Joseph, Yenny Garcia, obviously, she showed up today on the YouTube. So, yeah. So, but I really want to shout out anybody that believes that Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
I really want to shout out, and I hope that this is just a call for you to actually get involved, because we're taking back our city, and I invite you to join us.
Yes, whose streets? Our streets. I love that.
Yes.
Love that. Yes, definitely. Shout out to you all, Move Forward, just for having us here, Marisol. Shout out to you. You are always so on it, like she never stops, and I love that. Love that. You're such an inspiration. And I also would love to shout out Reimagine Richmond, because y'all are amazing. Like the research and everything you've done. Shout out to my Richmond Revolution and family. I know, like, this past year has been a lot, especially for our, for foundational members, our founding members. But we've really been pushing through. We've been going through a lot. So shout out to y'all. And shout out to my family at home watching. Hope you guys enjoyed.
Yeah, hope everyone enjoyed. The viewers, thank you for tuning in. And tomorrow we have our monthly community hike. We do our hiking monthly every first Saturday. It's our first Saturday event. And it's more than just a hike, right? It's about getting people from our communities out and active and healthy, right? And taking advantage of using these spaces that maybe we may not feel welcomed usually to use. And I also personally think that when you get up there and you hike up into the hills a little bit, because we're going to be hiking Wildcat Canyon, you can kind of see all the city. And for me, it reminds me, like, okay, look how big the city is. This is where I'm at now. And it's just really peaceful to get up there and enjoy the time in the community. So please come out tomorrow, 10 a.m. Meet us at Alvarado Park, Wildcat Canyon. All the information is on the Instagram page, Facebook page. Message us if you have any questions. And I think that's about it for the show, right, Jack? Anything else you want to say?
Yeah, right off for re-asking. I do want to give a shout out to Rich City Rides in the building and Rich City Rollers. So part of Marisol's group is in the house. And also Jessica Lopez, thank you for tuning in. It was an amazing episode. I loved it. So I'm glad that you loved it too.
What's up? She's part of the athletic program at CCC. What's up, Jessica?
Go Comets.
Go Comets.
Go
yes.
Comets.
Apply for our scholarship.
There you go.
Better apply.
She says 5'8" and 5'10". Obviously next month. She has got it. She's got a jot. She's jotted down, and she seems like she's committed to come. So thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. And anything else? Anybody else?
That's about it.
All right.
Have a great evening, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.